Imagine holding a device that feels almost weightless in your hands, a device that is small enough to slip into a jacket pocket, yet powerful enough to replace a laptop for many tasks. That has always been the promise of the iPad mini. For years, Apple's smallest tablet has been something of a secret weapon in their lineup. While the iPad Pro steals the spotlight with raw performance, massive displays, and professional branding, the iPad mini has quietly built its own cult following. Doctors use it during rounds in hospitals, pilots keep it as a digital flight manual, students carry it to classes for note-taking, and casual users love it as an e-reader or entertainment device. It is this versatility and unique size that make the iPad mini so beloved. Now, with Apple's M-series chips pushing performance boundaries like never before, a question is circulating across the tech world. Could Apple finally be preparing an iPad mini with the brand new M5 chip? Is that realistic? Or is it simply the latest swirl of speculation, rumor, and wishful thinking? Tonight, we are going to dive deep into the chatter, separating fact from fantasy. By the end of this video, you'll know what is happening, what is hype, and what could truly be the future of Apple's smallest iPad. Let's rewind for a moment. The iPad mini has always had different DNA compared to the iPad Pro. The Pro line exists to showcase Apple's latest display tech, accessories, and above all, its cutting-edge M-series processors. The mini, on the other hand, has typically relied on Apple's A-series chips, the same family of processors found inside the iPhone Pro models. This allowed Apple to keep the device portable and relatively affordable while still offering excellent performance. Think back to the 6th-generation iPad mini that introduced the new edge-to-edge design, USB-C port, and an A15 Bionic chip. It wasn't meant to rival the Pro, but it was powerful enough to surprise people who expected a small tablet to be underpowered. That strategy has worked for years, and Apple has shown no public intention of breaking it. But the rumor mill has a mind of its own. In the last few weeks, the leaks surrounding the iPad Pro M5 have poured gasoline on the speculation fire. When videos from overseas surfaced showing prototypes of iPad Pros allegedly running the new M5 chip, tech enthusiasts started asking the obvious question. If the Pro is moving to M5 so quickly, could the iPad mini be next? And that's how the phrase iPad mini M5 was born, even though Apple has never hinted at such a device. To be clear, there are no verified leaks showing an iPad mini with an M5 processor. None. But the possibility alone is enough to stir excitement, because the iPad mini feels overdue for an update. The last significant refresh brought us the A15 chip, and since then, minor spec bumps have been rumored but not delivered. Some whispers in Apple's supply chain even suggest that future minis could adopt the upcoming A19 Pro chip, the same chip expected for next year's iPhone Pro. But Apple fans are dreaming bigger. They imagine a unification of Apple's lineup, where M-series chips aren't reserved just for iPad Pros and Macs, but eventually make their way into every iPad, even the smallest one. That idea is both thrilling and controversial. So what makes the M5 so exciting? Let's talk numbers. Benchmark leaks from early Geekbench tests show the M5 crushing the M4 in both CPU and GPU performance. We're talking about single-core scores around 4,100 and multi-core scores approaching 15,500. GPU tests reveal a leap of nearly 40% compared to the M4. That is desktop-class performance in a mobile chip. Now picture that kind of raw power packed into a 7.9-inch iPad mini. You would essentially have a pocket-sized workstation. A device capable of editing 4K video on the fly, playing console-quality games with ease, and running advanced AI models that normally require a laptop. The thought of such a device has electrified Apple's community of fans, creators, and gamers. But here's the reality check. Apple is a master at product segmentation. The company is very careful not to let one device eat into the sales of another. That is why the iPad mini has never been allowed to outshine the iPad Pro. Giving the mini an M5 would mean giving the cheapest, smallest iPad the same raw horsepower as Apple's flagship tablet, and that could hurt the Pro line. From a business perspective, it makes more sense for Apple to keep the mini equipped with an A-series chip like the A19 Pro and reserve the M-series exclusively for iPad Pro and Mac models. That way the hierarchy stays intact. Still, the speculation refuses to die. Why? Because the market is changing. Look at the explosion of handheld gaming PCs like the Steam Deck, the Asus ROG Ally, and the Lenovo Legion Go. Consumers are showing massive interest in portable, high-powered machines. An iPad mini with an M5 would instantly leapfrog into that category, offering not only gaming potential, but also professional-grade creative power. Imagine carrying Final Cut Pro or Logic Pro in your pocket and actually being able to use them without compromise. That's the fantasy driving the buzz around the iPad mini M5 design. Rumors add even more intrigue. Some analysts believe the iPad mini could eventually transition to OLED panels, just as the iPad Pro is expected to do. An OLED mini would bring deeper blacks, richer colors, and improved battery efficiency, transforming media consumption on such a small device. Others point to possible improvements in Apple Pencil support, such as compatibility with Apple Pencil Pro, complete with haptic feedback and squeeze gestures. And then there's the camera question. Several leakers suggest Apple could move the front-facing camera to the landscape orientation, like they recently did with other iPads, making video calls more natural when the tablet is docked or in a keyboard case. So when might we actually see a new iPad mini? Supply chain chatter points to late 2025 or early 2026. Apple has already filed vague regulatory documents for new iPad models, but nothing yet confirms a mini with M5. Historically, Apple times mini refreshes around new iPhone chip launches, so the safer bet is a mini powered by A19 Pro rather than M5. But Apple loves surprises, and they guard secrets fiercely, so until we see official invites for an event, anything is possible. Pricing is another big piece of the puzzle. The iPad mini currently starts around $499 in the US. If Apple were to put an M5 chip inside, that price would almost certainly rise. We're talking $699 or even $749, which pushes it dangerously close to iPad Air and even base iPad Pro territory. And that's why many analysts are skeptical. Apple has built the mini's identity around being small and relatively affordable. Overpricing it could backfire, shrinking its audience to only hardcore enthusiasts. So where does that leave us? On one side, we have hard evidence of the M5 powering the next iPad Pro, with OLED displays, benchmark improvements, and design refinements. On the other side, we have pure speculation about the mini joining that league. The most logical scenario is a new iPad mini powered by A19 Pro, possibly with OLED, a relocated camera, and improved Apple Pencil support. But the dream of an M5 mini refuses to fade, because for many users it feels like the ultimate device waiting to happen. And here's the big question. Should Apple do it? Should Apple finally give the iPad mini the same M-series chip as its Pro siblings? On paper, it makes perfect sense. Performance would skyrocket, the mini would become a true pocket powerhouse, and Apple could win over a whole new audience of gamers, students, and professionals who don't want a large device. On the flip side, it risks cannibalizing the iPad Pro lineup and blurring product lines that Apple has carefully curated. It's a delicate balance. Only Apple knows which path they'll choose. Looking ahead, one thing is certain. The iPad mini is not going anywhere. Whether it gets the A19 Pro or by some miracle the M5, it will continue to serve as one of Apple's most versatile, beloved devices. Compact, portable, and endlessly useful. For now, the so-called iPad mini M5 is more rumor than reality. But if Apple ever decides to make it happen, if they ever take that leap, it could redefine what a tablet can be. So I'll end with this. Do you believe Apple will ever give us an iPad mini M5? Or is it just wishful thinking? Would you personally pay $700 or more for a mini with MacBook-level power? Or do you prefer Apple to keep the mini affordable with A-series chips? Let us know your thoughts down below, because this is one of those debates where the community truly shapes the conversation. And remember, stay tuned and subscribe, because if and when the iPad mini M5 ever becomes reality, you'll hear it here first.